straight out of mortgage payments. Come on. What? I was supposed to be sipping from this. Maybe this will be my thumbnail. What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Rochelle and I'm back with another video. Welcome to day 2 of our video extravaganza. I wanted to go ahead and do a schedule change. This video technically would not come out until Thursday, but I had so many crazy things happen in reference to paying off our mortgage that I decided to film this today. If you want to know what it's like to buy a home, pay it all off, and see what happens after that, then this is the video for you. If you are someone who already owns your home, maybe you're thinking about buying your first home, maybe you just bought your first home, or maybe you're someone who already bought their home and paid it off, this still might be some content for you because I'm going to share the things that I've been learning in reference to finalizing everything and making sure you have all the paperwork and all your affairs in order, so to speak, so that you can truly say you own your home. Thank you guys for tuning in, liking, sharing, and subscribing. This was supposed to be a hands video, but your girl had to come face to face because that's how crazy this is. So, you know, we last talked about the mortgage. It was paid off. It was paid in full. I was going to rip it on camera. But then I was like, no, it's too cute. I worked too hard for that. And I had my home buying and mortgage payoff guide that I used that helped me to stay motivated to become mortgage free. And I said, you know, I got my amortization schedule. Okay, we were 14 years a slave paying this off. And now I'm like, okay, now what? Let me just, I have my notes. Okay, we're gonna break this down and we are going to get right with this mortgage scenario. So first I'm going to tell you my story. I'm going to share with you what exactly has been going on in reference to becoming mortgage free, and then I'm going to share some quick tips, things that give you some tips that might help you. So stay tuned to the end of this video for that. If you are mortgage free already, can you please comment below? There's so few of you guys out there, and I think that you guys have the most knowledge. You guys are the most knowledgeable on this subject, and you know, it's cool hearing from people who already work in the finance world. Like my last mortgage video, I had a lot of lenders, a lot of realtors, a lot of all types of people who does this. But I think that if you are someone who's on the other side of that loan and you make it to this point where you're no longer paying for the home you reside in, it comes with a different type of energy. And so if you are mortgage free, just let us know in the comments, just hashtag mortgage free, because shout out to you guys for making it to that beautiful moment. I now know what that feels like, but the work is not done. The work is not done. When you think of the word debt, you think of something that you owe someone or something or some entity, and you are indebted to that person or that company until that balance reaches zero, right? When it comes to mortgage debt, I feel like it's a whole nother beast. If you pay off one of your credit cards, it just says zero balance. You go on about your day. You can decide to keep the card open or close it. When it comes to paying off this mortgage and really finalizing everything, it really is a whole different beast, and I cannot believe there's not enough conversation about this. So first off, my story. I came in hot December 31st, 2021, like, yeah, y'all, we paying off the mortgage, make the last mortgage payment with your girl. And we turning up, we're entering 2022 with that $50,000 mess off of our shoulders. And then things kind of quieted down, and I was like, now what? Now what happens? And so let me tell you what happened. January 1st went by, January 2nd went by, January 3rd went by, and I'm not hearing from my bank, my lender. And I'm like, what's up with that? Because basically, as you'll find out in the tips at the end of this video, you have to request a payoff letter. So I requested the payoff letter maybe 2 weeks into the month of December. Normally, I've requested payoff letters before. This is another little hack. Normally, banks don't care if you ask for these. There's no penalty. They're free. And I just wanted to see how long it would take. So I requested the payoff letter in previous times just to see how it was looking. And it would come back within a couple of days. Not this time. Not this time. It did not come back for several days. So I made several phone calls. to the bank and I'm like, what's up? What's going on? And they're like, 2 weeks later, they're like, oh, you got to do it over again. You got to put your request in again. And I'm like, because now that means I have to pay an additional 2 weeks worth of interest. Y'all, it was like $10. But it's the point. Okay, it's the point that I put in a request for a payoff letter. And just to let you know, when you put in a request for a payoff letter, it's not just something that can be easily missed. They have to sign. I know from my bank, we had kind of like a DocuSign situation where someone on their end had to sign, someone on our end had to sign. It goes into this encrypted system. It's not like you just don't see it sitting there. So I'm on the phone with several people, and this has got to be the most frustrating part. I am speaking with people who not only have no mortgages themselves, but they have no background in working with any of these type of loans before. It's very clear, it's very evident. I literally was talking to someone about my escrow account, and they said, well, what's the big deal? Can't you just do the escrow account next month? And if you are saying things like that, that means you are not aware of the parts of a mortgage loan. The fact that there's, principal and there's interest and then there's your escrow. And it was a really telling moment, and it frustrated me to no end. And so unfortunately it took like 4 or 5 phone calls before finally they reached out to someone at the corporate office. I tell you, if there's anything in my life I have realized, I'm always a one of one. Every time I have an issue, it always has to be escalated. And I'm like, why does this always happen? I'm just trying to get proof that I'm paying my mortgage off. I just want my payoff letter. Anyway, I say all that to say, I get on the phone with this lady. You can tell instantly she's all business, okay? Hello, my name is Karen. I will be assisting you today with your payoff letter request. We're going to go ahead and see what's going on here. Mind you, they had me on hold while I waited to connect to the corporate person for over an hour. They thought I was going to hang up. They thought I was not hanging up. I was charged and ready for action, okay? So, while I was sitting on hold, I try to make use of my time. And so I log into the encrypted system, and I realize, technically you're not supposed to be able to do that. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Normally it's a one-time gig. They send you a link every time you have access. But for some reason, my original link still worked. Y'all, why did I log in and I see the payoff request letter sitting right there on my screen? I was like, So by the time Miss Corporate comes on the line and she's, all business and she's trying to figure out what's up, I say, that's all right. I found it. Y'all go ahead. I just need you to make this last payment of $303. That is all we had to pay. And so she's like, okay, that's so weird. And so she's, going through the motions and she's getting set up to make this final payment. And then I realized what happened. See, with me being all the way over here in Hawaii and our mortgage being all the way over there in Maryland, there was a time difference. And there was something in the system where the system got confused. If I was the system, I would have gotten a little confused too. So I put in for a request letter maybe about 11 o'clock at night my time in December. Well, that was December 14th. Well, in reality, on Maryland's time zone, it was already the next day. So the system basically accepted my request. Whoever else was working signed it the next morning right away, and it was instantly in my inbox. But for some reason, I was not sent the link to log on and accept my copy of my payoff request letter. All because I think of the time difference. So, yeah, all of that could have been avoided. Anyway, we're where we are now with Miss Corporate. She says, I'm ready to accept payment. We go and we do what needs to be done. She's like, all right, you're all set. You should be hearing. No, sorry, I retract that. She says, you should see the funds deducted from your account in a few days. I said, hold up, Miss Corporate, wait a minute. I don't get a confirmation letter? She's like, nope. We're not allowed to send out things like that for mortgages. I said, so you're just going to take my money sometime in the next week, and I don't have any proof that this transaction was initiated, that you have my permission. You can't give me an email. You can't give me a confirmation number. You can't even give me your name or your direct number. And she's like, this is just how it is with mortgages. It's just how it is. And I'm just like, okay. Okay, I'm just at the point now where we're just trying to get to the next step, because I'll tell you why in a minute. So I log on every day, nothing's happening, and then finally, just as Miss Corporate said, the payment is deducted from my account. Not only is the payment deducted, my entire mortgage loan has disappeared from my account when I log in. I can no longer see my transactions. I don't have any proof of my statements. I don't have any proof of any of them payments I've been making for the last 12 to 13 years. And I'm like, oh, Rochelle, why did you not print some of this off? Because in reality, we used to have a home equity loan through this same lender years and years ago. And I remember it falling off, and I was like, ooh, next time I'm going to remember to print stuff off. It's just always good to have a paper trail, y'all. Anyway, we are fine. We finally have paid off the mortgage officially on January the 12th, y'all. January the 12th. It took from December 31st till January the 12th for us to finally say, we ain't got no more payments, y'all. But, you know, in my book, I was done with the whole thing on December 31st. Okay, so what that means for me in my head is I now cannot take credit for, we cannot take credit for paying off our home in 2021. It has now been pushed to 2022. So I don't know what that means yet in terms of tax breaks, tax whatevers, but I will be finding out shortly because I have a bomb tax preparer that has been, okay, she understands the assignment. So keep all of that in mind when you're making your decision on when you're going to pay off your mortgage. Don't do it like me in the middle of a new year. Okay, so,
Sorry, I thought this was more of a face video.
Yeah. Okay, so we have made our last payment. Now what? Now I do the thing that I have been doing for years, and that is research, go on Google, paid off my mortgage, now what, and see what pops up. I get a lot of articles. I found this one from azcentral.com. I still have it pulled up because somebody asked, Paul, how you doing, Paul? Paul said, I soon will be making my final mortgage payment on my home. I've never done this before. What happens next? Will the bank send me a deed to show that it's paid off and that I own the home outright? Answer, personal finance writer Russ, how you doing, Russ? Thank you for your time, says, we don't get this question a lot. And this is one of the most accurate statements I have read in all my years of looking this stuff up, y'all. He says, we don't get this question a lot since most homeowners frequently refinance or sell their home before paying their mortgage off in full. But yeah, that's basically what should happen. I double checked on this with Jeff, an investment advisor at a financial equity corporation, and he's also an experienced real estate investor. The bank will send you a document stating that the loan is paid in full and it should be recorded by the lender. And he goes on into more detail. I'll share the quick version of that, in a minute. But when I tell you there's not enough information, and there's not enough information coming from people who are the people who are indebted to these lenders, us on this side. Because getting it from our angle is a very long, drawn out process and that's not, I'm patient. I can deal with that, but still knowing what to do at each moment, I could write a book. So I am at the point now, right now in this current day and time, where I need a certificate of satisfaction. So I called my bank today. Haven't talked to them, haven't fussed them out for something in a while, Hey y'all, it's Rochelle again. So they patched me through to the department I need to speak with, and nobody's picking up the phone. Here we are again, frustrated. So I said, bump that, I'll call them back another day. And I hop online and I say, where can I get a certificate of satisfaction? Where does that come from? Does the bank make that, or does it come from the city? Whatever. Come to find out, a lot of this stuff is public record, y'all. So I go on to my, website for my city and my state, and I, go through the rigmarole, create an account, all that jazz, activated within minutes, no issues. Come to find out, my certificate of satisfaction been sitting there since 2019. Well, that's weird. I've been paying on this house since, for an additional 2 years. Like, what is that? So then I start reading the fine print, and this is what I mean by we were young and we did not read our paperwork, and we're always like learning on the way. I look at it and I'm like, technically our loan was not for $50,000, it was for just under $50,000. So I'm like, okay, at some point we must have satisfied the loan enough where the bank went ahead on our behalf and contacted, the land records, basically is what you're contacting, and said, hey, y'all, just want to go ahead and initiate this certificate of satisfaction. They're good. But yet and still, we continued to pay another 2 years. I guess we were paying the interest. I have no idea. Let me know in the comments. I would love to know what you guys think about what that is and how come my certificate is 2 years old already when my house has only been paid off for like a week and week to 10 days. So, I print it off. I'm queen of screen grabbing and printing and sending, and I'm shooting it over to my advisor, my financial advisor. I advise others on their finances, but I got my own financial advisor. And so I'm, this is in the moment. This literally happened like an hour ago. And so I will let you know at the next mortgage update what happens with that. But that's where we are. Understand, if you are someone who bought a property and you are now thinking about switching it over to a rental property like we have, you want to definitely look at your city and state regulations, because in the midst of COVID, Baltimore decided to initiate a property registration. No, I should just call it a property registry. Honey, they are not playing. If you don't pay and set up an account for your property and have it inspected, all at your expense, we're talking all out of your own ducats, and kept in good standing year over year, you can be up for some nice little fees. Okay, they're talking some environmental fines, some additional taxes and fees if you do not keep your property in good standing on this registry. So that's just state specific. Find out what's going on with you, and that's actually city specific for us because our home is in Baltimore. But it's just crazy. It's just been a lot of moving parts, and it's been a whole learning curve, and I just wanted to share it with somebody, and I thought that somebody should be y'all. Now, let's talk about the tips. Enough about me. It's about you now. I want to share with you guys what tips I wish I had known along this entire journey. First off, if you have purchased your home and you have been making solid payments on it for a couple of years now, check and see how close you are to paying 20% of your home off, because you could qualify based on the type of loan and situation you signed up for. You could qualify for your PMI to fall off. And I always talk about this in my mortgage update videos, but it is a way for you to save money and continue to pay down your mortgage even quicker. Also, decide at the very beginning, are you even interested in paying off your mortgage quickly? You should only think about paying off your mortgage in full if you plan on keeping this home and passing it down through your generations, making it a rental property, or a vacation property. If you are someone who just plans on selling your home just to get your dream home, this might not be for you. So all of my advice comes with that full disclaimer. I do prefer to invest over paying a mortgage, but we had to do what we had to do in our particular scenario, and it made sense for us. So PMI, definitely look into that. The next thing I would definitely say to do is go ahead and start the research process. Go ahead, and my phone is ringing. Researching the whole process of going from having a mortgage to not having one needs to just go ahead and get started ahead of time. That way you kind of know what to ask for as things happen. And while we're talking about research, go ahead and find you a knowledgeable friend, a knowledgeable tax preparer. Those two key elements have been so clutch for me, because my financial advisor, unofficial financial advisor, used to work with mortgages. And so she has been like, okay, next steps. Okay. Yep. That looks about right. So you need someone to help just to run ideas by. If you don't have someone that you know in real life, get on the gram, get on TikTok. Be careful working with strangers, and definitely don't give out your personal information. But I'm telling you, I learned more talking to people in our finance community than I do talking to the banks and these other large corporations, they're not excited for you to pay off your mortgage. You have to understand they wanted to make money off of you for however long your loan was supposed to be. So ours was a 30-year loan. They thought they were going to make money off of me for another 15 years, bare minimum. We handled that. Next step. Go ahead and find out the process for having your escrow removed before you pay off your home. A lot of people won't tell you that. For our scenario, it made sense. I'll tell you why. Being responsible for paying our own home bills, like our, property insurance, property taxes, our insurance, homeowners insurance, our ground rent, things like that. You need to know the processes and how to pay it and when to pay it and who to pay. And that window, it gives you time so that you can contact your bank and ask, hey, who do you guys pay every month? Instead of handling all this on the other side alone and the bank being like, our hands are free of this. So if it was me, I have no regrets removing our escrow before we were mortgage free. Now, again, we did not remove our escrow until we were more than 75% done with our mortgage. I would do like 75, 80%, when you're almost there, Also, you want to decide when you're going to make your last payment. And when I say when, I mean, how far down are you going to pay your mortgage before you ask for your payoff request letter? I still am up in the air as to whether we waited too long to ask for our payoff letter or if we, did it at the right time. Our payoff letter was good for 30 days. So some payoff letters, you can tell them, you can request like, oh, I want my payoff letter to be this many days. And if they agree to it, it's fine. Because that's interest. That's interest that go ahead, you can keep talking. That's interest that has to be taken into account for your final payoff amount. So like I said, better to go ahead and deal with this in advance. So then make your final payment via your bank's choice, whatever options they give you. Don't make it on your own. I have seen one scenario where someone paid their mortgage off completely through the regular way. They just kept hitting pay. And they got down to it and they thought they were done paying off their mortgage and they weren't. The bank was like, no, we didn't get a chance to charge you interest. There's a process. So just understand your process. You get my drift. Once you pay your mortgage off, don't expect a party and don't expect confirmation. The lender could care less. They care, but they're not happy about their care, if that makes any sense. So just be prepared to throw yourself your own party like we did. We did a whole crab legs party, drinks, music, flashy lights, all that. Okay? Throw yourself, be excited about your own successes and have people around you who can be happy for you. I cannot believe I don't have my cup to show you guys. Okay, Eva grabbed it for me. Straight out of mortgage payments. Come on. What? I was supposed to be sipping from this. Maybe this will be my thumbnail. I don't know if that'll be clear. But anyway, throw yourself your own party. Okay, so next steps, y'all. We are making good progress, but we're nowhere near done. So next steps, according to some of these articles I have been reading online, is to get a payoff loan letter. So that will come from the lender saying, okay, you're officially paid off. You're good. Most of the articles I'm reading say that takes 30 to 90 days from your last payment. So I'm going to give it a while. I'm not going to press them too much, maybe next month. Then you want to, if at all possible, get a copy of your lien release, which basically says that you are no longer responsible for making payments towards this loan. You have paid in full. You're good to go. And you want to get that recorded. And so again, I'm learning, but when they say use words like recorded, I'm thinking they mean I need to turn it into someone and it needs to go on file, go on record. And so I'm going to be in contact with my city records to see what that's all about. Then you want to make sure you have a copy of your title insurance policy and hold on to it forever. Just because you're done with the loan, it doesn't mean that you're done with the insurance. You should make sure that stays in play if that's for your scenario forever. It can protect you. Like I'll link the article that I'm referring to in the description of this video, but it made sense as to why that is important. And sometimes the lenders do this for you, but again, you just need to check these boxes yourself to make sure this stuff happened. So the purpose of the lien release is to give notice to the world that your mortgage or trust deed against your property has been released and that the lender no longer has an interest in your property. Straight and to the point. I'll link this article too. The title insurance policy that you purchased when you first bought your property continues to insure you against any possible title problems that might come up in the future. So say if you bought your property a long time ago, but then there's an issue affecting the land, which is very possible because we own our home, we do not owe the land. And the title insurance policy will cover you for that loss up to the value of the policy. So that gets kind of dicey, you know. Some people don't have title. I had to find out if I had title insurance. I'm gonna be real with you guys, I don't even know. Then the next thing you want to make sure you have is the most recent current loan statement. This is what I don't have, guys. This is stuff I gotta get. And that basically is for two reasons. One, there's info on that statement that might not be on your payoff letter. It could be like your loan account number, could be your statements, like how much you've been paying over time, could be a series of things. So you want to have that statement if you can. A lot of this is overkill, but I'm the overkill type of person, so I'm gonna make sure I have this stuff. The second reason you want to make sure you have a current loan statement is that it shows proof that there was something to pay off. We live in a world where common sense is not so common. So imagine having a payoff letter and your lender 20 years later saying, we don't understand what you're talking about because you never paid us money. We never had a loan for you. What are you talking about? It could be anything that happens, guys. You want to have this paperwork like in a safe place stored so that you can continue to pass it down through your generations to whoever is going to be the next owner of your home. Then let's see, what else? Loan statement from your lender. So that's going to show all your closing costs. And the reason I want to look for this is because it could be helpful at tax time. Sometimes some of those numbers are tax deductible. Then you want to have your lender mail back the original promissory note that you signed with canceled on it. And this is something that I never see anymore. I asked already, my bank, and they were like, we don't do that. And so I'm going to keep asking nicely. I'm hoping to get in, like I have one contact there that is like really helpful and goes above and beyond. Hopefully they still work there because I would love to have that. I think that's just, it just is rare, but it would be nice to have. The last thing that I would recommend you to do is to tell your insurance company that you paid your home off so that they can remove the lender's name from the policy. I need to do this. I'm going to wait until I have something formally written, my payoff loan letter at least, before I call our insurance company. But I thought that was really interesting because, yeah. The lender doesn't need to be involved. Not only that, call your insurance company and also call your records, city records, county records, whatever, and let them know. Because in the rare occasion that you forget to make a payment for your property taxes or whatever, they would think that you're still, you know, with your same lender, and they would be reaching out to them saying, hey, they haven't paid, you know, sharing your business when they don't need to. That could just be now between you guys. So I hope that makes sense. I hope everything I said has made sense. I hope it helps someone out there. I've put myself out here. I do not profess to be an expert in any of this. I am just sharing what I have learned along the way, sharing my journey. It helps. It's a good vent. It's a good outlet because it's a lot of red tape. It's a lot of hurry up and wait, but the results I could not be more happy with because I know that we are mortgage free and I don't have to worry about that anymore. Like I can move on to the next property. Yes, that's in our future. We would love to buy again, but already having what we know under our belts is going to help us to secure a property, you know, the next property in a way that makes more sense than it did this go round. So that's all for today's video. I'll see you guys tomorrow for our next video in our video extravaganza. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, peace, love, and budgets.